Hello and welcome to Science Monitor, a show that brings to you the most significant news from the world of science, technology, innovation, research, discoveries and much more. I'm Aishwarya Kapoor and here are this week's headlines. The 106th session of the Indian Science Congress concludes with a call to leverage science and technology for India's development. In an exclusive interview, General President of the Indian Science Congress emphasizes on the importance of bringing students, scientists and Nobel laureates under a single platform. In our series on Institutes of Excellence, we visit the National Centre for Polar and Ocean Research in Goa. And sky watchers witnessed the first eclipse of 2019 as the moon moved between the sun and the earth, forming a partial solar eclipse in the early hours of 6th of January. Our top story this week. The 106th Indian Science Congress concluded successfully at Lovely Professional University in Jalandhar in Punjab. The 5-day Science Congress hosted important events like a Children's Science Congress, a Women's Science Congress, lectures by Nobel laureates and industry academia interaction, which were focused on the theme Future India, Science and Technology. Among other activities, the Pride of India Expo showcased the scientific prowess of the country's prestigious institutions through different models and designs. Science Monitor brings you this ground report.
While science is universal, technology must be local for providing solutions relevant to the local needs and conditions.
With this speech, Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurated the 106th Indian Science Congress held between 3rd to 7th January at Lovely Professional University in Punjab. PM Modi congratulated Indian Science Congress Association for choosing the theme Future India, Science and Technology. He emphasized that India will be able to unlock its true potential if it's able to connect science, technology and innovation with its people. The 5-day-long Science Congress aimed to bring together scientists, industry, academia and students on a single platform to discuss how innovation and research can be used for the benefit of the society. 3 Nobel laureates including Professor Thomas Sudhoff, a German-American biochemist and 2013 Nobel Prize winner in Physiology or Medicine, Professor Evram Hershko, Hungarian-born Israeli biochemist and Nobel laureate in chemistry, and British-born physicist and 2016 Nobel Prize winner in physics, Professor Frederick Duncan Michael Haldon, participated in the Science Congress and enlightened the students with their lectures.
Technology is making things happen, but science is really finding out why things happen.
As a part of Indian Science Congress, the Children's Science Congress was organized to provide a unique opportunity to children to use their scientific temperament and knowledge and to quench their thirst for creativity by demonstrating various scientific experiments. Nearly 120 science projects finalized by Department of Science and Technology were showcased at the event.
हमने इंडियन कांग्रेस में विजिट किया है और हमने देखा कि बच्चों ने यहाँ पे माइक्रोस्कोप, सोलर सिस्टम, बस वगैरह या एरोप्लेन्स बनाए हैं. इतना इंटरेस्टिंग सब्जेक्ट है साइंस कि अगर हम भी उसमें करेंगे तो हम भी आगे ऐसे कर पाएंगे.
Another program called Women's Science Congress was organized to showcase the contribution of women in science and technology. Union Minister for Textiles Smriti Zubin Irani inaugurated the event and urged women to come out of their stereotypes and break the gender bias. Renowned women scientists from DST delivered lectures during this session.
We should all make our fellow women and daughters aware about the opportunities which are available to them. And Women's Science Congress is one such big platform for such interactions. I hope it would provide good exposure to young researchers and students.
There were many interesting events at the 106th Indian Science Congress. Students of the Civil and Mechanical Engineering Department put up a huge 55 feet tall and 25 tons heavy robot Metal Magna at the main gate of the university campus. A driverless solar bus captured the eyeball of the visitors while a gigantic telescope at the center of a field raised curiosity among the students. The show stealer among them was the burial of time capsule, which contained 100 items that represented modern era technology as experienced in India today. It was buried at a depth of 10 feet by the Nobel laureates. The time capsule was buried to be preserved for 100 years, only to be opened in 2119. One of the most happening things at the event was the science exhibition called the Pride of India Expo, which showcased cutting-edge technologies, scientific products and services, achievements, innovation, initiatives and vision of India's leading organization and research labs dealing with science and technologies, education, defense, space, healthcare, energy, environment and so on. The Department of Science and Technology (DST) won the Best Design Award. Ministry of Earth Science and Geological Survey of India was declared the most interactive stall. Department of Atomic Energy and Indian Council of Medical Research were declared most informative, while Council of Scientific and Industrial Research and Defence Research Development Organisation were declared Exhibitor of the Year. All these stalls displayed research and development initiatives realized through its various autonomous institutions. The 5-day-long event provided the best platform to exchange ideas and innovation among scientists gathered from across the world. Scientific demonstrations, plenary sessions, and lectures played a vital role in stimulating scientific curiosity among the masses and thereby raising the scientific temperament in the country.
In our special segment, we interview the General President of the recently concluded 106th Indian Science Congress, Dr. Manoj Kumar Chakrabarti, who delves on the importance of this year's Indian Science Congress, its theme of science and technology, and its role in the acceleration of India's development.
Sir, my first question would be, how was this year's Indian Science Congress different from the previous years?
Last year we could not organize any plenary session, but this year we have organized, just like previous years, we have organized several plenaries, including it starts from the plenary of on the achievement of DRDO, where DRDO Chairman DRDO Dr. Satish Reddy, he personally organized that plenary. And then one plenary was on one special lecture was given by our DST secretary, Professor Ashutosh Sharma, and along with him another person was there. He's Professor Pradeep Khoshla. He's the Chancellor of University of California at San Diego. Besides these plenaries and special lectures, we had 14 different sections we organized, starting from physical science, chemical science, plant science, animal science, computer science, engineering science. Each sections we several foreign scientists from abroad, they participated. International conferences are being organized under one roof.
How many Nobel laureates this time participated in the Indian Science Congress, and what was the purpose of bringing them together and have an interaction between them and the industry, academy and the students?
Main purpose of the Science Congress is to motivate the children to know the achievements of scientists so that they are inspired to take science and technology as their career, and they get chance to interact with the Nobel laureates. Here Professor Abraham Hershko and Professor Michael Halden, they interacted with children. They were the chief guest in Children's Science Congress. They talked very well. Children were inspired.
What was the theme of this year's Indian Science Congress?
I choose this theme, Future India, Science and Technology, because this is realization of future India through science and technology. Any advanced country, all countries have developed through science and technology. Now we also have to do that.
You were there at the meeting which happened between the Prime Minister and the Nobel laureates. So what was the discussion point of that meeting?
Nobel laureates explained their thing. They said that they appreciated our Prime Minister, and they made some discussion on their work also, and they appreciated the Prime Minister for his support for science in India. Prime Minister also here, the inauguration he declared, he made one slogan, the Joy Anusandhan. So it shows how much enthusiasm could be created by this 106th Science Congress. I must say that this is a 100% successful conference.
Thank you so much for talking to us. Thank you.
It's time for a short break, and when we return, we take you to the National Center for Polar and Ocean Research in Goa. But that's after a short break, so keep watching Science Monitor.
Enter the majestic forecourt of Rashtrapati Bhavan and you'll come across the Jaipur column. A gift to the Viceroy from Savai Madho Singh, the Maharaja of Jaipur, to commemorate the creation of the new capital. The 145-meter high column is crowned with 6 pointed crystal stars on a bronze lotus, and inside the stone shaft runs a steel tube which weighs a little more than 5 tons. The base of the column has text conceived by Lord Irwin and Sir Edwin Lutyens inscribed on it.
The National Center for Polar and Ocean Research, or NCPOR, situated in Vasco da Gama, Goa, is a leading institute in the domain of polar and ocean research. The institute was established by the Ministry of Earth Sciences under the Government of India in 1998. Since its foundation, NCPOR has played a significant role in bringing India to the forefront of carrying out research in Antarctica, the Arctic, and the Southern Ocean. We bring you this special report, which is a part of our series on India's Institutes of Excellence.
India is the 7th largest country in the world and surrounded by vast oceans and mountains. The 3 main coastlines of the country include the Indian Ocean on the south, the Bay of Bengal on its east, and the Arabian Sea on the west. In the North Peak, India is dominated by one of the largest mountain range of the world, the Himalayas, which means the abode of snow. This geographic location of India makes it essential to carry out research in the ocean and mountain realms. With the aim to study this unique geographic location, the National Center for Polar and Ocean Research, or NCPOR, was established in May 1998 in Vasco da Gama, Goa. NCPOR is governed by the Ministry of Earth Sciences under the Government of India. Since its establishment, the institute has helped India to do forefront research and mark its scientific developments in the polar regions like Antarctica, the Arctic, the Himalayas, and surrounding oceans. Amongst the many achievements, the institute has developed an ocean research vehicle, or ORV, called Sagar Kanya, which has been developed with the help of Germany. It is now managed by the institute. The research vehicle has onboard instruments and laboratory to carry out research activities to study the many mysteries of the sea world. Apart from this, the institute works in various branches of ocean science, including marine biology in the Antarctic Ocean. The institute also provides opportunities to scientists to conduct multidisciplinary research in the polar and ocean realms. In one of its latest research, the scientists from the institute have studied the impact of melting ice in the Arctic region on the Indian monsoon rain. For the study, scientists analyzed the warming pattern of the region of the last 2 centuries from 1810 to 2010. They also examined the samples from the Arctic Sea, Kongsjord in Svalbard, to study these changes. The study shows that there have been steady periods of warming in the Arctic in the last 2 centuries. However, it was noticed that the melting increased after 1900 and accelerated after 1970. The research was published in the journal PLOS One.
In the polar research, we are doing Antarctic, Arctic, Himalaya and Southern Oceans. So this all polar research is mainly specific to understand the climate issues. What is the things are happening in the climate? So our purpose is in the changing climate scenario, what is the effect is happening, and also what was happened earlier and what will happen in future. So that is our main objective of study of polar research. In the ocean science, as I mentioned, we are looking at some of the non-living resources, hydrothermal and polymetallic nodules and other mineral resources available in the oceans.
To acknowledge and govern the high impact of global warming on the Earth's ecosystem, the Institute is doing many other significant research. In another study, scientists from NCPOR and India Meteorological Department are jointly conducting a study to examine the effect of global warming in the Himalayan region. The Institute has established a high-altitude research station at the Himalayas called Himansh. The station helps scientists to study the glacier responses towards climate change.
In the Himalayan region, we started observing in Chandra Basin. We tried to monitor how the mass balance is changing, especially how much ice is melting every year, how much ice is accumulating, snow is accumulating. Out of that, how much is melting? We are trying to understand, because the Himalaya is a water tower of the entire world. So if it is depleting so many water or ice, then it is a huge consequence of the people surrounding in this area.
The Institute also calls for proposal by scientists and institutes to conduct scientific research in Antarctica, the Arctic region, and the Himalayan region. It also provides opportunities for budding scientists through PhD fellowships in polar sciences in Norway. For further details, please visit www.ncaor.gov.in. In the past few decades, studies pertaining to ocean and polar regions have become an important aspect as they control the major dynamics of the climatic studies and phenomena, especially climate change. Through the wide research initiatives taken by the National Centre for Polar and Ocean Research, India too has been able to understand the aspects of its surrounding oceans and mountains in a better way.
A partial solar eclipse was witnessed by people in parts of Northeast Asia and the North Pacific on 6th of January. It was the first of 6 eclipses that we will see in the year 2019. A solar eclipse takes place when the moon moves between the sun and the earth in a straight line, and a partial solar eclipse happens when the 3 celestial bodies are not exactly lined up. The sun appears to have a dark shadow on only a small part of its surface. Science Monitor team brings you an in-depth report.
The first partial solar eclipse of 2019 took place on January 6th and was visible in parts of Northeast Asia and the Northern Pacific. It was not visible in India, though was viewed from parts of Eastern Asia, including Siberia, Mongolia, Northeast China, Japan and Korea. It was also visible from North Pacific Ocean as well as Southwest Alaska. A solar eclipse happens when the moon orbits Earth. It moves between the sun and Earth. When this happens, the moon blocks the light of the sun from reaching Earth. During a solar eclipse, the moon casts a shadow onto Earth. There are 3 types of solar eclipses. The first is a total solar eclipse. A total solar eclipse is only visible from a small area on Earth. The sky becomes very dark as if it were night. The second type of solar eclipse is a partial solar eclipse. This happens when the sun, moon, and earth are not exactly lined up. The sun appears to have a dark shadow on only a small part of its surface. The third type is an annular eclipse. This happens when the moon is furthest from earth. It does not block the entire view of the sun. The moon in front of the sun looks like a dark disk on top of a larger sun-colored disk. This creates what looks like a ring around the moon. During a solar eclipse, the moon casts 2 shadows on Earth. The first shadow is called the umbra. This shadow gets smaller as it reaches Earth. It is the dark center of the moon's shadow. The second shadow is called penumbra. The penumbra gets larger as it reaches Earth. People standing in the penumbra can see a partial eclipse, and the people standing in the umbra can see a total eclipse.
Every year, if you try to see in any calendar year, there are minimum 4 eclipses which occurs. Out of that, it is expected that 2 will be solar eclipse and 2 will be lunar eclipse. Now, as far as this particular year is concerned, like 2019, this year we have got 5 different eclipses. And in fact, if you try to see the length of the year, and if it has been geometrically beautifully placed, then the maximum number of eclipses that can happen in a 1 year is about 7, but which is very rare, which is not very quite often. But by and large, if you see, there are minimum 4 kind of eclipses occurs in a calendar year, or maximum of 7 number. Now, especially when you are talking about the just recently 5th and 6th of January, which was absolutely a partial solar eclipse, that means nowhere on the Earth the totality was passing through on the Earth at all. And if you try to see that 5th and 6th of eclipse, solar eclipse, which was partial, which also passed through very northern part of the globe.
Studies done at NASA or the National Aeronautics and Space Administration have proven and warned people to never look directly at the sun. It can permanently damage the eyes. Looking at the sun during the solar eclipse can burn the cornea's transparent outer layer and damage the light-sensitive cells in the retina. And so, people were advised to use pinhole cameras or special solar eclipse protection glasses to watch this partial solar eclipse.
It's time for a short break, and when we come back, we will bring you some more news on science and innovation from India and around the world. Keep watching Science Monitor.
भानु अथैया अकादमी अवार्ड अपने नाम करने वाली पहली भारतीय महिला। सिने उद्योग की इस सफलतम ड्रेस डिजाइनर ने किए हैं करीब 130 फिल्मों के कॉस्ट्यूम तैयार। 1956 में फिल्म सीआईडी से करियर का आगाज किया और 1982 में रिचर्ड एटनबरो की गांधी के लिए जीता ऑस्कर। 1991 में फिल्म लेकिन और सन 2002 में लगान के लिए मिला राष्ट्रीय पुरस्कार।
Welcome back after the break. Let's now take a quick look at some more scientific innovations and developments from India and around the world.
Scientists at the Indian Institute of Technology, Roorkee, have developed an earthquake early warning system that can alert people up to a minute before a quake strikes. The system has been deployed in some areas of Uttarakhand. The system consists of a network of sensors that detect different types of seismic waves traveling from the layers of the earth after a quake. After conducting the research with the sensors for over 2 years in Uttarakhand, the scientists have also deployed a system of sirens that can alert people up to 200 meters away. China successfully deployed its latest lunar mission. They have named the rover Yutu-2. It will carry out a string of experiments on the dark side of the moon. The moon missions launched in the past have landed on the Earth-facing side. This is the first attempt to explore the dark side from the surface. The moon's far side is also called the dark side, which means the unseen side of the moon. The rover will help to map the moon's inner structures. It will also analyze soil and rock samples for minerals, apart from activating a radio telescope to search for possible signals from deep space. Archaeologists from the Deccan College Deemed University in Pune and the National University College of Medicine, Seoul, Korea, have discovered a couple's skeletons buried in the same grave. According to the archaeologists, evidence show that the duo was buried simultaneously or about the same time. The grave was found in the Harappan settlements excavated at Rakhi Gadi in Haryana. This is the first couple's burial to be discovered in a Harappan cemetery.
And in the history of science, this week we remember Nikola Tesla, born on 10th of July 1856. Tesla was a renowned inventor and researcher. He is famous for the development in transformation and application of electric current. He contributed in this field by making the first motor which worked on alternating current or AC. He holds over 300 patents to his credit. In 1887, he started his own company called Tesla Electric Company. Tesla also made a coil to produce high voltage, low current and alternating current electricity. He named it as Tesla Coil and received a patent for it in the year 1891. Some of his other significant inventions include a wireless power transfer system, remote control and a plasma lamp, to name a few. He passed away on 7th of January 1943 at the age of 86 in New York. The breakthrough developments made by Tesla have led to a great advancement in the field of electricity. Tesla's significant contribution to physics is remembered and celebrated even today. Well, that is all for this episode of Science Monitor. You can send your feedback and suggestions to Science Monitor on our email ID news@vigyanprasar.gov.in. You can also write into us at Vigyan Prasar, C24 Kutub Institutional Area, New Delhi 110016. We'll see you again next week with another episode of Science News and Innovations. Till then, goodbye and take care.